Guys, it's Jolene from Smith's Nature Friendly Farms, and I'm super stoked. We're out in the garden today and we are going to do a test and learn. Alright guys, if you have followed me in the past, I'm sure you have heard me say many times, one of my favorite things about gardening is the test and learn process. We make no claims whatsoever to be perfect or by any means an expert in anything we're doing here, but I love to try things on. I like to do things that we haven't done before. I can't do the same old thing over and over again, and I love to challenge status quo. So today what we're going to do is we're going to test some different organic fertilizers and see how they grow. So I'm going to show you them and we'll talk more about it and get started. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with 6 tomato plants, and they're going to be cherry tomatoes. We're going to use Johnny Seeds certified organic hybrid cherry tomatoes. We're going to use the same soil for all of the seedlings. They'll all be the same type of tomato plant, so there's no differences in, any makeup in the plant itself, so it should be exactly the same. And then we're going to use these different fertilizers. So the first one is going to be liquid seaweed. The next one's going to be organic all-purpose plant food. This guy you get at Walmart. This one you can get on Amazon. Agrothrive is new to me and I just started using this year, and I'm already looking like I really like it so far, but we're going to truly see what the results are. And then always it's a good idea, we're going to have a control plant. The control plant's going to get nothing. This poor plant is going to be deprived and only get whatever's in the soil. And the soil we are going to use is standard potting mix. It'll be a Miracle Grow soil, so there will be some sort of natural potting soil chemicals in there, but they'll always be the same. So we're going to see what this does when all of these guys are applied individually. So we will apply this guy to one plant, this guy to one plant, and this guy. So we have our seeds in here. We're just going to top them off and add some water. Once these guys germinate, that's when we're going to put them into their own individual cups and we'll start the fertilization process. So we won't do any fertilizing until they get into their own cup. Alright guys, the seedlings that were started for our fertilizer test are up and growing and have been up potted one time. They have been watered once with straight water, absolutely no fertilizer, and each plant was chosen because they were about the same. Anybody who looked like he was a bit of a lagging behind did not get chosen, so these are our 4. So we're going to start off, we're going to water each one. I'm starting today. This container has the Agrothrive in it. This one will have the all-purpose plant food. Now it's not a liquid fertilizer, but a slow release, so it'll act a bit differently. And this is our seaweed fertilizer. So this container has the seaweed fertilizer in it. And this is our control tester that will just get water. So I'm going to water them all and get them started. Alright guys, I think it's been long enough. It's time to put our stamp on which fertilizer, which one of our organic fertilizers, that we think did the best in our trial. Let's take a look. Okay, we're going to judge these plants based on 3 things. Their color, so how dark green they are, how much yellowing they have, their root system, how much of a root system they've got going on, and we're also going to judge them on their flowering, which I'll tell you about. First one, and the winner for coloration, which to me is a really strong indicator of plant health, is our Expert Gardener. So this is the granules that we've been adding to the soil. This one actually super surprised me. I did not expect this to be such a strong performer, and it really, really was. Coloration second, there is Agrothrive, and it is really not far behind. It's got a bit of yellowing going on. That may not be anything to do with the fertilization of it. It could be, it got drier than the other ones. Who knows? But right now it is still a strong, healthy color. These guys start to get yellower. So this is the Blue Planet. It's definitely got a little bit more yellow going on throughout the plant. And so does this one. Now, let's talk about the root system. The root system is actually really telling us a lot here. So this is the Expert Gardener. Look at how thick that root system is. Then we go into the Agrothrive. It's definitely thick, but not quite as even as, say, this guy that's like all the way around. He's just super thick and very happy roots. these guys, you can definitely tell they are way less roots, not nearly as thick. And we get to our last one. Remember our last one, we have no fertilizer in it whatsoever, and we do feel like that definitely makes a difference. Although the difference between the seaweed fertilizer and no fertilizer, really there isn't a lot. Like these two guys are very much the same. So our next measurement was flowering. So which one of these plants flowered first? And actually, it was actually the Agrothrive that flowered very first and significantly earlier than all the rest. This guy had its flowers about 4 days before this guy. Now, whether or not that's 100% a sign of success, I'm not sure. But in my mind, it is just another indication that it was getting the nutrients it needed to start getting to work. And the one with absolutely no fertilizer took forever to flower. So it was at least a week and a half later before it flowered. So it really kind of isn't, to me, an indication of how healthy a plant is when it doesn't quite get to flowering so soon. So I'm going to give the win right now to Expert Gardener and the plant food that we use. And this one is actually available just from Walmart. However, I highly recommend Agrothrive. I've actually really enjoyed having it, and I truly believe, because it's a liquid fertilizer, that it's actually been helping the plants that I have starting when they are really small, because you can feed it to them in their water. Whereas the granule, it's kind of hard when there isn't a lot of dirt on the tray to get the granules in. I mean, you could, but it just doesn't seem as rational as, say, giving it a drink with this fertilizer. So this year I've had far more success in my tomato starts, and I do truly believe that Agrothrive played a part in that. But I would have switched completely to Agrothrive and said goodbye to this, and now I know I will not say goodbye to this. This has a lot of value. This is a good plant feed. Would I continue with any of the seaweed ones? Absolutely. They're still providing different types of nutrients to the soil. I don't think it hurts anything. I just think that overall, I've proven that if I'm going to start my plants, I'm going to start using a mix of these two guys, and that's where we'll go. So I don't know about you, I found that super interesting. I definitely know the benefits of providing your tomato plants with more nutrients and fertilization. For those of you who are wondering about the simplicity of it, I do things super simple. It's a capful to 1 jug, and those are the large jugs, watering cans, and that's the way I do it. If you can't keep your product simple, I'm not using it. I'm sorry. I don't measure. I've never been good at math. If you followed me for a while, you'll all know that I've never been good at math. So for me, it's got to be, I like to keep it simple. I have to have it whereas I can just give it a capful and go. So I like these products. That's exactly how I've used them, and they seem to work just fine. All the plants, for those of you that are wondering, all had the same light, same watering schedules. Everything was kept consistent. They were packed around together wherever they went. They all went together. So treatment wise, all of them had the same treatment. So I think other than the fertilization, that was the only difference for them. All right, well, I think my next experiment I feel like is in the air. I'm thinking about testing with Epsom salts. We hear a lot of people that are like, no way, Epsom salts, it's a rumor, it doesn't work. But when I go to the greenhouse, I ask them how their plants are so beautiful, and they say, we put Epsom salts in the water. My grandfather swore that it made his cucumbers way healthier. Like anything, it's a great opportunity to test and learn. If there's anything else out there that you think we should test and learn together, give me a shout down in the comments below, and we'll check it out. Awesome, you guys. Be friendly, be kind.